watching my show Amplify with Aarti. This show brings stories of change makers. Today we have a very special guest, Virali. Virali, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm very grateful for it. Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Thank you, Virali. Let me take this opportunity to introduce Virali. Virali is an influencer, she's an actress, she's a model, she's a disability right activist, she's a TEDx speaker, she's a motivational speaker. The list is long. Virali, it's a privilege and honor to host you, dear.
No, thank you so much. The honor is all mine. Thank you so much.
So, Virali, let's straight dive in and ask you a few questions. So, Virali, I just want to know about your childhood, about the disability, and how did you aspire to become a model and an influencer? Tell us all about it. Our viewers will be eager to hear your journey, Virali.
No, thank you so much. So, I was born in Mumbai and I was raised in the US. I shifted to the US when I was 1 month old. And I had a very normal upbringing, a very normal childhood. I wasn't always born disabled. I was able to walk. I was a dancer. I was into sports. I was very great at academics. And at the age of 13, I decided that I wanted to be a model, that I wanted to go into the glamour industry. And when I was 14 years old, 14 turning 15, I went to India during the monsoon season for a month. And when I came back, I started getting the symptoms of malaria. Like you're feeling cold, you're feeling hot, your fevers are skyrocketing. And I went to the doctor, and the doctor said that it's a normal viral fever. It's nothing to worry about. You take a paracetamol and you'll be totally fine. So I would take the medicine, and at that point of time, it would kind of be like my fever would go down to normal. And then as soon as the effects of the medicine wore off, it would skyrocket to 102, 103 degrees. Now, we went to the emergency room afterwards and they did all the normal testing. Every report was negative. They even tested for malaria. Malaria ka report bhi negative aaya tha. I came back home again on paracetamol. And the next morning, my mom came to wake me up and I started hallucinating. I couldn't recognize my mother anymore. And 5 minutes later, I went back to sleep. My grandmother came. She woke me up and I was totally normal. So I legitimately started hallucinating. And we decided to go to the emergency room. They got me up, and as soon as I started walking, I was limping. So gradually, my ability to walk kind of went away. It was deteriorating. I went to the washroom and I couldn't empty my bladder anymore. Wasn't able to pee. I wasn't able to urinate. My parents took me to the emergency room, and वहाँ पे they emptied my bladder. They shifted me to a bigger hospital. There they did all of their testing. Again, everything was normal except for an MRI. So they thought, and this is only speculation, this it's inconclusive. It's not 100%. They thought that there was a shadow in the cervical region of my neck. So they wanted to do a lumbar puncture. So that's when they take a needle, insert it into the lumbar region of your spinal cord, withdrawing CSF to test for neurological ailments. They took me into the testing room, and as soon as they did the lumbar puncture, they turned me on my back, and I had a seizure. मुझे feet आने लगे, and my blood pressure skyrocketed to over 200s. As a frame of reference, 120 is normal.
Yeah.
200s is like way, really, really high. And I vomited. Half of the vomit went into my lungs, half of it came out. Because of that, I went into respiratory arrest. I wasn't able to breathe anymore. And because of that, I went into cardiac arrest. I lost my heart. I was declared dead for 7 minutes. And they tried revitalizing me, giving me electric shocks. They tried for the first 2 times and nothing happened. They couldn't get my heart back. The third try, the ICU doctor said that ye main last time kar raha hu. This is the last time I'm going to try this. And if it doesn't work, then Virali's not going to survive. He tried it and he got a very minute heartbeat back, but they couldn't get my breathing back. So I was on a ventilator, and I was shifted into the ICU that evening. I was in my senses afterwards, and the next day I went into a coma after another lumbar puncture for 23 days,
Oh my God.
during which I was declared dead 2 more times. So, 3 times in total, I was declared dead. And on the 21st of September 2006, the doctors had a meeting with my parents, and they said that Virali nahi bachne wali hai. She's not gonna survive. I wanna just tell you, at this point of time, my mom, she crumbled to the ground और डॉक्टर के पैर पकड़ लिए and she was crying so much that with her tears the doctor's shoes were like soaked, भिगो दिए थे. Now the thing about my mom was that she was very strong during this whole ordeal. She never cried. और कोई भी रोता था ना तो उनको धक्के मार के बाहर निकाल देती थी हॉस्पिटल से. That you don't cry around Virali. She's going to survive. क्यों रो रहे हो? It's not like she's passed away. She's alive, no? Don't cry. And that day she fell to the ground and she started crying. And she just told the doctors that Virali's 15th birthday is coming up on the 29th of September and we want to celebrate it. हमें celebrate करनी है. And you have to give us permission as a mother's last wish. You can't say no. And they agreed. They went to the Dean of Medicine. They got permission. But there was one ultimatum. There was one ultimatum. And that was, if on the 29th of September, nothing miraculous happens, then on the 30th at midnight, they'll pull the plug on my ventilator. And my mom signed the consent form. So that you can kind of perceive as an analogy for my death certificate in a way. Because she didn't know if I was going to survive or not, but she still signed it. And on the 29th of September, we called all of my family members. We had around 75 to 80 people. Mera pura kamra sajaya tha. They decorated my room like a 5-year-old's birthday party. We had balloons, we had streamers, we had everything, catering karwaya tha. And we had a cake. So everyone was singing happy birthday. And my dad took my hand. And as soon as I cut the cake, I opened my eyes. And I'm staring at the ceiling. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm staring at the ceiling. And everyone's screaming. And my mom just looks at the clock to see what time it is. And it's 3:05 p.m. Coincidentally, that's my original birth time. I was born at 3:05 p.m. on the 29th of September. And everyone just went crazy and the doctors came in and the doctors were like, dude, this is a miracle. Like, what's happening? And they did an evaluation and they were like, she's gonna survive. She's going to make it. And I went back into my coma after 40 minutes to an hour. The doctors were like, it's okay. एक बार बाहर आई है तो दोबारा भी आ जाएगी वो. She'll be fine. And on the 5th of October, they took me into the operating room and they took out the ventilator from my mouth and they did a tracheotomy. So you can see I have a scar right over here.
Okay.
They put it through my trachea. And I came out of my coma as soon as the anesthesia wore off. The doctors actually thought that I might be brain dead or something or the other would be wrong with me mentally. But nothing was wrong with me except for the fact that I was paralyzed from the neck down. And that was shocking. Like, I didn't know that I was paralyzed from the neck down. Nobody told me. And I just remember one day speaking to my grandmother and I asked her, I was like, "Aap kitne din se ho yahan pe?" And she was like, "I've been here for almost 2 months now." And I was very surprised. I was like, why? What happened? तो उन्होंने मुझे पूरी राम कथा बता दी कि क्या हुआ है मेरे साथ. And you must be thinking like, you know, what was my reaction? Like, how did I react to that? Surprisingly, I was very accepting of the situation, but I was very shocked because I thought, why didn't my parents tell me this? मम्मी पापा ने मुझे क्यों नहीं बोला? So I became quiet. And my mom and dad came and I didn't talk to them for a bit. And मैंने उनसे बात करी. I told them like, why didn't you tell me? And they were like, we were gonna tell you, but gradually, slowly, we were gonna tell you. And yeah, I was very accepting. I wasn't depressed. I was like, ठीक है यार, हो गया ना. There's nothing that I can do to change the situation right now. रोके कोई मतलब नहीं है. There's no point in crying.
Very brave of you. Very, very brave of you, Virali. While you were telling, I am feeling so overwhelmed, but the way you are narrating, it is like a story of a victory. I'm so super impressed. The way you are describing it, and as a mother, I could understand how with your mother going through all these feelings when you see your child suffering, it is something which is very devastating. Hats off to your mother, and I really proud of you the way you are describing this incident. I thought you'll have a lot of bitter memories, but you are sharing it as a victory that you came over. Proud of you, dear.
I remember coming home and it was totally a different experience, new experience. And मेरे हाथ भी नहीं चल रहे थे. I couldn't move my hands. You know, a lot of people don't believe me when I say this, but I got my hands to work through the law of attraction just by manifesting. And, you know, obviously physiotherapy, mom and dad helping me and stuff. But law of attraction is what helped me get my hands to work. And that's where this story kind of takes a little bit of a bitter turn, because I tried reaching out to my friends. I tried messaging them. I tried talking to them. And they totally shunned me. They were like, hum kya karenge, you know, to hang out with you. You're in a vegetative state. You're disabled. Like, hum kya karenge tere saath? What are we gonna do with you? You're a burden. And that just hit me like 10,000 bricks to the face. You know, I couldn't understand, I couldn't fathom why my legs matter so much. Like, you are not friends with me because I am able to walk. You are friends with me because of me, because of my personality, because of who I am. So what do my legs have to do with this whole situation? And I just could not digest that. I went into depression because of that. I even tried to commit suicide twice. And I remember coming back from the hospital the second time. I was at home. I was sitting on the ground and I was crying. I was hitting my legs. And I was like, why? What did I do to deserve this? Like, Bhagwan ne mere saath ye kyun kiya? You know, I never harmed anyone. I never did anything to anybody. What did I do? And I'm just like, bas, I want to die. I don't want to live. Like, kya hai ye zindagi mein? Full melodrama. I became a full melodramatic person. My mom is just sitting behind me on the sofa. She's patting my head. And after a while, I become quiet. And my mom is like, ho gaya tera? Are you done? Were you? I'm like, why are you saying this? She's like, because there's no point in you crying. Were you able, ye sab karke, were you able to change what happened to you? Were you able to change the past? I said no. I'm like, she's like, are you able to change the future? I said no. She's like, to present kyun kharab kar rahi hai? Why are you messing up on your present where right now you could actually be working on yourself, working towards your goals, working towards your dream, working on becoming a better person, accepting yourself. Because without accepting who you are, you can't expect other people to accept you. You can't expect other people to love you when you're not in a good relationship with yourself. And I was like, what is this nonsense? Yeah. What is this nonsense? A 16-year-old girl, who's going to listen to her mother? But then I took it with a grain of salt. I was like, let's work on it. Dekhte hai. Gradually, I worked on it. 2008, I shifted to India. And that's when I was hit with realization that accessibility is not universal. Accessibility is not universal. Like in the US, when I see a person with a disability on a wheelchair, it's second nature. It doesn't make a difference. I always see people on wheelchairs. तो मेरे लिए वो normal है.
So Virali, I would just like you to throw some light on the accessibility in India. Like you were talking, in US it was very easy, but in India you face a lot of difficulties.
Yeah, You know what? Accessibility in India, it's so rare to find a ramp. It's rare to find a ramp, and that should speak numbers for you. That should speak volumes right there. You need to understand that according to the consensus of 2011, 2.21% of the population has a disability. That number must have been doubled. It's been a decade now. That number must have been doubled. So imagine that number of people unable to leave their homes because of something that's not their fault. Isn't that segregation in a way? Or isn't that discrimination in a way?
Very
So
true. Very true. Very true. Very
would
true.
you want to be put into that category? Because let's be very honest, this is very bittersweet, but everyone on this planet is temporarily abled. Everyone. You can get into a road accident, you can get an illness, anything can happen, you could become disabled, or you could temporarily need to use a wheelchair. Surgery.
Even for that matter of fact, I remember when my daughter was very young, to run a pram, you cannot take a pram anywhere in the shopping complexes. Certain malls are wheelchair friendly, but very few. But if I want to go to a local street shopping with a pram, I cannot run the pram there. So very rightly said.
You can't. And I mean, that's the same about restaurants and clubs and movie theaters and every place that you can think of. Let's talk about tourist attractions, tourist places. They're not accessible either. Our
Yes.
historic places that we have, the culture that we have in India, just imagine 2.21% of people missing out on that.
Which is huge. Which is
Just
huge.
number.
Huge.
When I came here, I remember we were going to the train station from Bombay, or we took the wheelchair out of the taxi, and at least 5 to 10 people stopped to look ki kya ho raha hai. And then I came out of the taxi, and everyone is just like, "Are re re, bichari, poor thing." And I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, how am I bichari? I just came from the States. Like, I am traveling. How am I a bichari? I didn't get that. And that's when I was just hit with this bomb ki yaar, that's so different. We went to the train station, we went near the compartment, and I'm looking at the compartment and I'm like, Arey, but seediyan hai. There are stairs. How do I get inside? Chalo, there might be a lift, there might be a hydraulic ramp or a portable ramp or something. My mom actually went and she called over 2 porters. And she told them that ye meri beti hai, you have to lift her up and just take her to a berth. These guys were probably around the age of my father, and they looked at me up and down in a very disgusting way. And as women, you kind of understand. जब कोई देखता है आपके सामने, you kind of understand how it feels. You don't need to even look at them. You get that feeling, you understand. Yeah. And that's how I was feeling. And one guy comes and he lifts me from underneath my knees. The other guy comes and he lifts me from underneath my shoulders. And जैसे मुझे उठाते हैं, मुझे अंदर लेके जाते हैं, we get into the compartment, and the guy that was holding me from my upper body, he wraps his arms around my chest and he starts molesting me. He starts groping me. And at first, I thought it was a mistake. Because again, as women, we like to validate every vulnerable situation that we're put in. We like to justify it. Because we don't want to be in that situation. We don't want to accept it at first. And yeah, we don't want to accept it because हमारे साथ कैसे हो सकता है ये?
Very true. Very true. I can so much relate to it because I have a friend, a very close friend. She's on wheelchair, so if I have to take her to restaurants, none of the restaurants are wheelchair friendly. There are always 2 or 3 stairs, and in order to lift, she should be comfortable. And how the other person is lifting, any random person lifting, are not comfortable. When I'm hearing only, I'm getting those disgusting feeling, and I can understand that simple things are missing. Exactly. And as a young girl, you are facing all this and you don't even have the courage to speak up, and you don't know what is happening. You don't even know whether it is a molestation or not. What is the other person trying to do? So there's thousands of thoughts running in your head.
it's a lot of confusion, and that at that point of time you're like, मैं किसको बोलूं? Who do I say? Do I speak up? Do I not speak up? If I speak up, what if this person drops me? And
Yeah,
then who's going to help me?
yeah, yeah.
So then do I just let this person molest me? And ultimately that's what happened. I had to let him molest me taki I'm safe.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just such a basic necessity, having a ramp. It's so basic.
Yes.
It shouldn't even cross your mind. He
Yes.
put me on the berth, and I mean, I had tears in my eyes. I looked at him and I said thank you. And this happened to me 3 times. So 2008, 2011, and 2013. And I never spoke up about it because unfortunately in our country, when it comes to disability, it's only black or white. There's
There is
no
no gray
gray
area.
area. And what I mean by that is the black part of it is that whole bichari bichara wala phase. Ki how can someone touch you? Why would someone want to touch you? As if we are asexual or we are untouchables. Why would they want to touch you? And then the white side is they put you on a pedestal. Inspiration porn. Inspiration porn. आपको कौन छू सकता है? दिव्यांग है ना, हम विकलांग नहीं है. So आपको कौन छू सकता है? People don't believe you. So I just kept mum. I didn't say anything. In 2014 is when I found out that there is a pageant called the Miss Wheelchair India pageant. And that is when जो modeling का कीड़ा था, it came back.
Wow.
It was like, okay, let's try my luck. Let's see if I can do this. And I participated in that, and I won second place, runner up in that. And I thought, you know what, this is the time to get into like auditions and to go out for auditions and let's see what's possible. Unfortunately, I went to auditions. I've been to like 3 or 4 auditions, and I've only heard one thing from them. And it's, you're beautiful, you're talented, you're really talented, you're perfect for this role. But na aap chal nahi sakte na. If you were walking, we would have casted you right away. Okay, this is what they're telling me. And so then I just put that dream on the back burner. Until then, I was working, just doing menial jobs and everything. And then in 2016, when the Disability Rights Bill was passed, I was like, dude, this is a victory. This is a victory for our nation, for the disabled community. It's a victory. And then in 2017, early 2017, the railway minister, Mr. Suresh Prabhuji at that point of time, he announced a train called the Tejas Express, which had facilities for those who are blind and who are deaf, who are hard of hearing. And I thought, yeah, this is great. Like, chalo, kuch to naya aaya. But you're forgetting the biggest sector of disability, which is locomotor disabilities. It is the biggest sector.
Yes.
And so
many of them, and you hardly see them anywhere in the malls or anywhere because you don't make things wheelchair friendly. So, and you keep looking at them with a lot of those visions, so they don't feel comfortable to come out of their houses.
Exactly. And so I was like, yeah, this is not cool. This is not done. You can't just ignore a sector of disability. And disability is an umbrella term. You can't just pick and choose which disability you want to cater to and then call a train disabled friendly. You can't do that. That's not right. And that's when I was like, something needs to be done about this. And I wrote an open letter to the Prime Minister and to the Railway Minister talking about my experience of what I went through in the railways. And that went viral. That spread like wildfire. I was on the news for that. It was published everywhere. And I didn't get a response back. I tweeted to them. I didn't get a response back. I even complained on their respective websites. I didn't get a response back. I got a response from the Railway Ministry, and they said that this complaint does not pertain to this ministry. It has been forwarded to the Ministry of External Affairs. And that was so confusing. Like, why? ये railway में हुआ है. External Affairs को क्यों जा रहा है? And then I was like, this is it. बस हो गया. I need to do something about this. And I started my campaign called #MyTrain2. Now, when I started this campaign, before I started it, I asked my mom. I was like, Mom, I'm going to be talking about this. This may spread like anything. I'm going to be talking about being molested, being sexually assaulted. Like, log kya kahenge? I mean, what will people say? What about our family? And she's like, have I told you about the 3F rule? And I said, kuch to hoga, ye alag hoga. I know my mother. I know her. Alag hoga. I'm like, bolo, kya hoga? Kya hai? She's like, so she said, if they're not feeding you, financing you, or fucking you, their opinion doesn't matter. तो तुझे जो करना है ना तू कर बिंदास. We are there to support you. कोई कुछ बोले तो सही. And I'm like, okay.
Very nice, Virali. I am like getting goosebumps when you're talking about this. And one thing which I want to reiterate to the viewers who are listening to me, because I have been working for a decade now on sexuality and gender equity. Virali very rightly pointed that we just assume that if a person is disabled, they will not be sexual beings. How can we think like this? And one way we are putting out them at a pedestal, or they are that supreme powers, and then we are not treating them equally. So beautifully said, Virali. Beautifully. So Virali, the people I heard they call people differently abled or handicapped or divyang. What are your thoughts on this? How do you feel about it, Virali?
First of all, why do we need this terminology? That is my whole question. At the end of the day, we are individuals, we're human beings, we are born with a name. Call us by our name, but chalo, agar if you want to be politically correct and if you want to give this a term, okay? The basic point is, आप जिसको disability आप उसको पूछो ना. The person that's disabled, जो wheelchair पे बैठा है, या फिर the person who's blind or who's deaf, ask them. No, what label should they call them? What label do they what label do they call themselves? Now I have this very interesting interaction that happened. This happens all the time with me. I prefer the term disabled. I do not like differently able, divyang, handicapped, or whatever. I prefer disabled because that is my reality. No, it doesn't define me. My disability does not define me. What defines me is me, not the wheelchair. That is just an extension of my body.
Very true.
And another thing, so people correct me all the time and they say, Virali, you're not disabled, you're differently abled. And to them, I want to say, why are you trying to undermine my struggles as a disabled individual? Why are you trying to do that? That is ableist behavior. That's ableism. Just because आपको disabled बोलने में बुरा लग रहा है, आप मुझे differently able बोल रहे हो. And the reason that you are feeling bad by saying disabled is because you are uncomfortable around disability. So the day that you become comfortable around it, these terms will not matter. And the reason that, and so this conversation happened, somebody was like, you're not disabled. You're not disabled. The society is just unable to cater to your needs. I'm like, so in term that makes me disabled, no?
Very
like, that makes me disabled.
We try to put, I think, everybody into boxes on the basis of gender, sex, sexual preferences, sexual identities, or abled or disabled body. I know we are very fond of putting people into boxes and labeling them rather than treating humans as humans and respecting them as individuals.
We've been making a very big deal about pronouns ever since we've heard about LGBTQ and transgender, transsexuals. We become more aware and we are now respecting pronouns, she, her, him, them, or he and him, right? So that's the same thing when it comes to disability and labels. These are our labels. It's our body, our disability, our label. Who are you to tell us what we should call ourselves?
Very true.
That is total ableism. That's ableism. That's ableist behavior. It's not like you can't go up to a transgender where they recognize themselves as she and her, and be like, "Arey, but no, you don't have those characteristics. You were born a male. I'm going to call you he and him only." You can't do that.
In
So
case of doubt, just ask. I will just say
exactly,
that. In case of doubt, just ask, what do you want me to address you? And that's it.
that's it. It's as simple as that. And most of us would only like you to address us by our names.
Very
So
true. I will not be saying disabled Virali. I would be talking Virali, how are you?
just
Why would I need that?
exactly, I don't get it. I
Yeah.
don't understand it.
So, Virali, I would like you to throw some light on this accessibility and your campaign about railways, and also your restaurant campaign, which you have recently started.
Sure. So the campaign regarding the railways was called #MyTrain2. It went viral. We have approximately 6 lakh signatories and counting right now. And a railway official from Kerala actually reached out to me. And we made 9 stations totally wheelchair accessible without any renovations, just by implementing portable ramps and small aisle size wheelchairs, which fit into the compartment between the berths. Into the
Wow.
and
Wow.
we sensitized the entire railway the railway station itself through local NGOs regarding soft skills. How do you speak to someone with a disability? How do you help them? Kya karna chahiye aapko? And because of that, and this is such a proud moment for me, I actually won the Women's Achievement Award by Delhi Commission for Women in 2017. So I named as one of the most influential and inspirational women of 2017 by BBC 100 Women. And 2017 was the year of my first TED Talk. I had always wanted to be a TEDx speaker, and that dream just came true. And everything just got wildfire after that. I've been to various colleges, universities, corporates also. I've given motivational talks. And in 2018, like I always told you, I wanted to be a model. I wanted to get into modeling. I had the wonderful opportunity to work with Salman Khan,
Wow.
Being Human, and I modeled for him as the print ad. And yaar, hoarding laga tha. There was a
Wow.
hoarding.
Wow.
And that
Wow.
was my one dream that I wanted, and my modeling career just took off. I worked with FBB as a showstopper. I walked the ramp for Bombay Times Fashion Week, Jewels of India Pune. I've done an ad for Big Bazaar. I was also featured in Jehangir Art Gallery, where my photos were uh, displayed over there. Um, just it's been crazy. It's been crazy to
Kudos.
see these.
Kudos to your achievement,
Thank
girl.
you.
Kudos, kudos. And so much to learn. You are such an inspiration, she is. And I always see Virali, the wheelchair is not a barrier to her dreams. She just owns it as a throne or a queen. I just see that way, Virali. And I'm so, so super proud of you. And I'm sure your story is going to inspire so many who are in that shell and don't want to come out and live their dreams. And
It's
you,
about breaking free. It's about breaking free and doing what you want to do, and not caring about other people and society and blah, blah, blah. It's your life. You have to live it. And if you are unhappy in your life, then you can't blame anyone else except for you, because you're not taking that step to get out of that zone.
so, Virali, I've written some rapid fire questions, some fun element. So, there's a rule for
Let's
the
do
game:
it.
one word or one
Let's do it.
sentence. So, Virali, let's shoot
Okay.
these questions to you. Are you set?
Set. I'm ready.
Okay. Describe Virali in one word.
Unique.
Yes, Virali is unique. Your biggest challenge other than this disability.
Love.
Okay.
Love has to be the biggest challenge, definitely.
Your inspiration and role model, Virali.
My followers, my supporters are my inspiration.
Virali, one food item you really crave for all the time.
Pizza.
Okay. Your most memorable experience till date.
Oh my god, so many. I remember, and this experience has stuck to me. This is stuck to me. Aarti, I just want to say I've gone scuba diving. I've gone into concerts. I've been to music festivals. I've sat on motorcycles. I've done crazy stuff. I've done very crazy things which are very memorable to me. Partied with celebrities. I've done very crazy things. But the one thing that sticks to me, I remember a couple of years ago, this one girl messaged me, and she told me about all of her problems. She wanted to be an IAS officer. She told me all about her problems. No, sorry, not IAS, engineer. And she was about to give up. She was literally sitting there. She typed this to me with the knife in her hand. She was about to, like, she wanted to kill herself. And she came across one of my videos or an article about me or something, and that's when she decided that she wanted to give life another chance.
Wow.
And she passed her exam with flying colors. She became an engineer, and she messaged me. She told me her whole ordeal. And that day was the most memorable day for me, because one thing that's always been in my heart and one thing that's always been about me is that I wanted to use the fame or the awareness that I brought out, or the popularity that I have, for good. I've never wanted to promote anything that's harmful or negative, or anything, nothing negative. I'm all about positivity. I'm all about positivity. And seeing that message that day, I had tears in my eyes, and I was like, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. And this is what I wanted to achieve. And that memory it's here, stuck in my heart.
Very nice. Very overwhelming.
Yeah.
So my next question, one value you hold very close to your heart.
One value that I hold close to my heart: integrity. Integrity. I mean, there are many, but integrity is something that it's really important to me.
Your favorite book and author?
Harry Potter. It has to be Harry Potter. I mean, only because I am a Harry Potter nerd. I've read all the books. I've watched the movies like 100 times. So it's just nostalgia for me.
And my last question, Virali, your 3 amplification mantras for the viewers, for the young people who are listening to you.
Okay. The 3F rule: if they're not feeding you, financing you, or fucking you, their opinion doesn't matter. It's your life. Live it the way that you want to live it, because ultimately you have to live it. And the third one is, if you guys have seen the movie Finding Nemo, Dory, she says, just keep swimming, just keep swimming, just keep swimming. And for me, that movie is my life. That movie is my life, is my journey in a nutshell. The motivation and the fighting and everything behind it, it's my life in a nutshell. And so I really connect to that dialogue, to that quote. And it's like, whatever happens, you just have to keep moving ahead. You just keep moving forward. You don't look back.
Thank you so much, Virali. So we have done the rapid fire question and you were superb.
Thank you.
I really, really loved talking to you, and I'm sure viewers are going to love this interview, and it is going to be really, really inspiring. And would like to end this at a note that keep viewing dreams, and it is all here. If you have a positive mindset, 90% of the battle is in the mindset, 10% is your strategies. If your mindset is positive, things will happen. So dream big and have a positive frame of mind. Definitely success will be all yours. Viewers, do subscribe to my channel for more such interesting conversation. This channel is bringing stories of such good change makers, and there is one who is sitting right in front of you. And Virali, thank you once again for coming and gracing my show. So let's amplify with Aarti.
Thank you so much.